Today's lesson is on factoring trinomials, and our objective is to factor just specifically quadratic trinomials, which means that they have an exponent of 2. So remember when we did multiplying binomials, it gave us an answer when we multiplied binomials that was actually a trinomial. So if we were to do that, we had x plus 3 and x plus 4, and we had x squared, 4x, 3x, and 12. And when we combined our like terms, we had x squared plus 7x plus 12, because the 3 and the 4x gave us the 7x. So here, if you notice any pattern, our 12, well, how did we get that? We got 12 by multiplying 3 and 4. And how did we get the 7? Well, we got the 7 by adding the 3 and the 4. So this thought process of multiplying to get the last number and adding to get the middle number, or the middle coefficient, is going to help us as we move forward into trinomials. So here is our first step, our first example. Now remember, in the last kind of introduction, we said, well, we multiplied two numbers to get the last, or the constant, and we added two numbers to get the coefficient of the middle term. So I like to say that we do math in the AM, like in the morning, to help us remember this. So what we want is two numbers that multiply to get 20, but add to get 9. So we want to find factors, or numbers that multiply to get 20. We can do 1 and 10, negative 1 and negative 10, 4 and 5, negative 4 and negative 5. Oh, I'm sorry, not 1 and 10, 2 and 10. And we could do 1 and 20, negative 1, negative 20. And that's pretty much it for multiplying. Now we want to see when we add the two numbers, we want to get 9. So if I were to add 2 plus 10, I get 12. That is not 9. So not going to work. If I add negative 2 and negative 10, I'll get negative 12. Also not going to work. 4 plus 5, though, so I'm adding these two, gives me positive 9, and that is the answer that I will want. So here's what I do. I open up two sets of parentheses. I'm going to take the square root of x squared, which is just x, and put it in the first position. Okay. Now I'm going to take these two numbers, 4 and 5, with their signs. So there's a positive 4 and a positive 5. And I'm just going to stick them next to the x. And that is the factored version of x squared plus 9x plus 20. And if you wanted to check that, you could make a little box for yourself. And we have x and 4 and x and 5, x squared, 5x. 4x and 20. So we know that we're adding those two pieces in the middle. X squared, 4 plus 5 is 9x plus 20. So our answer, or our factored version, we just factored the trinomial and we got x plus 4 times x plus 5. So again, here is another example. I want to add two numbers that give me negative 8, and I want to multiply two numbers that give me positive 12. So I want to find numbers that multiply to get 12 and add to get negative 8. So let's pick some numbers or factors of 12. Well, we know 1 and 12 and negative 1 and negative 12. We know 2 and 6 and negative 2, negative 6. And we know 3 and 4 and negative 3 and negative 4. So let's see if they add to negative 8. 1 plus 12 is 13. Not going to use him. Negative 1 plus negative 12 is negative 13. Not going to use him either. 2 and 6 gives me 8. Okay, I'm getting close. Remember, I'm always now adding the two numbers. Negative 2 plus negative 6 gives me negative 8. So this is what I want here. So I take my x squared, I break it up. So I have x, and now I stick negative 2 in one, negative 6 in another, And this is our factored form of our trinomial. Here is our last example. So again, we're looking for two numbers that add to -7 and multiply to get to -18. So if we want to multiply to get -18 and add to -7, so I know that to get to -18, I can do 1 times 18, or -1 times 18, or 1 times -18. I can do -2 and 9, or 2 and -9. And I can do -3 and 6, or 3 and -6. All these numbers multiply to give me -18. Well, now I'm going to take the two numbers and add them. -1 plus 18 equals 17. So, don't want him. 1 plus -18 is equal to -17. Don't want him either. -2 plus 9 equals 7. So I'm getting closer, but I want -7. So let's cross him out. 2 plus -9 actually does equal -7. So I can stop here and know that my two factors that I'm going to use are 2 and -9. So I split my x up, and I have an x and an x. And now I just put +2, -9, and that is my final answer. Please remember to fill out the Google form, rewatch this video. Remember, we do math in the AM, so I want to add to get the middle term and multiply to get the last term, and that will help you through this process. Please fill out the Google form. Remember to be prepared tomorrow, and have a good day.